vision, your strategy, and your mindset. So firstly, thinking about like what is it that you're actually building, and this is a really good starting point whenever you're thinking about stuff. And this is not to completely overwhelm you, because you might not know the 10-year plan. You might not know what you're doing 6 months from now. I sort of thought that I might get pregnant at the beginning of this year. Turns out I got pregnant in November, you know? It's one of those moments where you're like, oh, actually, the life plan, but like things are slightly changing and moving and shaking. But really thinking about what that vision is for you, for your business, for your family, all those sort of stuff of like, how do you want to feel? What does your day-to-day look like? What's important to you? How are you going to be able to quantify what a good day is? You know, that moment where you go home and you're like, that was a really great day today. So when you have this strategy, when you actually know what it is that you're going for, it's kind of about doing less than doing all of the things. Because as much as we all want to be super women, you know, running these huge empires and doing all of this stuff, and I found it so frustrating when I had my son, because there were all these people who were like, my child literally just sleeps on his sheepskin and I've like grown my empire. And I'm going, how? Because I'm going like this. Well, my child never sleep ever again. Because he wasn't that sleeper. He was like, let's be together for 20 hours of the day and just look at each other. That was kind of his vibe. That was the child that I had. And I think it's really important to know like what your A to B is in terms of that strategy. Because when you're following along in that, you kind of know how to make decisions. So I guess when I know what my vision is, and I vaguely know what my actions are, my kind of strategy, I know what to say yes to. I know where to say no to. I know where to spend my money. I know where I need to pull back. And it just, because we can all give all things to everybody, right, as well. There's always that thing, there's always somebody going, do you fancy doing this? And sometimes you find yourself going, yeah, and then you're like, oh God, no, I don't want to do that, don't make me do that. And then the third piece, which has interestingly come up a lot tonight, is that sense of mindset. Why did nobody teach us this at school? You know, we did have the advert, I think it was for Ariel or something, about positive mental attitude. You know, just repeat the same words, but there's so much more to it, and unless you check in with your own triggers. And so I think really dedicating yourself to that mindset and understanding what's going to work really well for you as well is going to help you grow your business. And that's not just thinking positively, it's about really uncovering what's going underneath. So I've got a question for you, which I would love you to write some notes about. And the question is, what is your version of success? And this is kind of why I started my podcast, because I was wandering around the park and I was listening to all these podcasts of men going, yeah, I go to the gym 2 hours in the morning, 4:30 till 6:30, I have a protein shake, I feel pumped for the day, I do a moving meditation and I do this, and then I smash it and I work through till 11 o'clock, and then I sleep, and then I have a bulletproof coffee, and I was like, this is not my version of success. And they're going, but I'm a family man as well, so I see them for half an hour, and I'm going, whoa, hang on a minute. But also as well, your version of success will be so different to somebody else's. But knowing what your version is really going to help you. So when you kind of wander off, or sometimes you get yourself in situations that I've been in as well, where I'm like, why did I say yes to that? Or I should have trusted my instinct then. That was not necessarily the right move, or the right connection, or whatever it might be. And also giving yourself permission that your version of success will change over time. You know, your version of success at 25 is going to be different to 35, to 45, to 60. I mean, my mum's in St. Lucia at the moment. She's like, this is my version of success. Look, I'm doing brilliantly. You know, she's having a great time. Whereas if you'd asked her that question at 25, 20 years ago, she's like, I'm doing this, I'm running a school, and you know, she had all of that sort of stuff. So it changes as things go on. And then there's another question, I guess, which is, where are you right now in terms of your business? And what is going on? How are you feeling about it? Now, I know sometimes some business strategies strategists rather, or analysts are going to say, yeah, but what about the numbers? What are the numbers doing? What's the Excel sheet saying? How many customers are you getting? How many leads are you getting through the door? They'll do all of that technical stuff. But if you can, wherever you go through this journey, is go back to that feeling, like how are you feeling about this bit of your business? How are you feeling about that part that you have to do that you might dread every week? Or which are the bits of your business that you absolutely love? And really checking in with that stuff and how it feels. Because in a way, that will kind of give you all of the clues of how you want to move forward. Understanding what that why is. So sometimes it can be those logistical things of like, I want to be around for bedtimes, or I don't really work on a Friday. Like, I love that time where I'm like, what are we going to do today, kid? And invariably wants to go to the same local park, not to somewhere exciting, but I like that Fridays can really be a time together. But also there can be this deeper why as well, like what is the impact that you're going to have? And one of the things that I come back to, when I'm helping people say build a portfolio career, is I have that why because I felt like for a lot of my early career I had no idea what I was doing. I had no role models. I felt like I was just knocking on doors the whole time going, can you help me? Do you know the answer? And I had to do a lot of figuring it out myself. So there is a kind of deeper why for me of being able to pass that information on and help other people as well. And it kind of goes a lot deeper than that, but really thinking about what your why is for you. The next thing is knowing how it's going to generate money. And do you know what, ladies? It's all right to talk about money because, again, we're not ever taught this. Like I was saying earlier, we were never taught at school to talk about growth mindset or pitching or negotiating, or, the credit card is not a gift. It's not like the bank is, oh God, you know what? You are great, let me send you this. Like, you have to pay it back. Nobody sort of taught you these things. But really thinking in the first instance, how are you going to get that money flowing into your business? And sometimes this doesn't have to be the big old grand plan. Even if it's a small amount in the very first instance. And I know that conflicts with a lot of online marketing because they do say you can earn 7 figures in a fortnight when you're starting your business. I know it's not the case for everybody. Why do people say that? It's nonsense. But anyway, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure one person has done this, but it's a lot to think about. But really thinking about that money, because once you've got that money, you can either outsource things, as in like get some headshots or get photography, so you don't have to do those bits of your business. And also as well, when you get paid for something, there is this sense that it's real, almost. It's that like, oh, I'm actually doing this. This is a thing. This is something that all people want to do. And also one thing I've noticed as well is when I've given my time away for free or I've given resources, people don't necessarily value it. Or sometimes people will say, like, I bought courses and they'll go, there's a bonus worth $997. I've never written that bonus. Like, I don't even know what it, there might be that sort of moments because it's free and the amount of time where you get a leaflet in the street and you don't read it. So really thinking about how you're going to even get that small bit of money in the business from the beginning. Now, you all did a brilliant job earlier, but really thinking about your elevator pitch. So I go to so many events where people are sort of almost, and this actually didn't happen tonight, which is brilliant, but so many people sort of do that apologetic, I've sort of got this idea, but don't ask me about it. You see the eye contact kind of going all over the shop. And the person that you're talking to might be the person who absolutely needs your service. Your elevator pitch is what do you do and who do you help and what problem do you solve? Think about your USP. There can be this temptation sometimes, especially when we're in that kind of 9:30, 10 o'clock. Like, we know that we should put our phones down and it's late, but we find ourselves scrolling and then going down this moment of going, everybody else has got this figured out. Everybody else has got business, everybody else is doing brilliant. They've got a good deal. Oh, brilliant. And you can really go down that self-sabotage, self-destruct sort of way. ourselves that everything has been taken, all of the boxes have been ticked, but the way that you do it and your message and what you're all about has never been done before because it's yours. And so the more that you can tap into that of like, what is your USP? What is your magic sort of, like your secret sauce? Because you're only going to make it in the way that you make it. It's like what your, I don't know, your parent or somebody in your family makes that special dinner. Like most people probably roast a chicken, but they're not going to roast it in the way that you absolutely love it, and with the perfect veg or the perfect rye or whatever it is. You know, it's never not going to be in the right way that you want it. So really checking in with that USP, because once you do that work, it will inform all of the other things. So once you stop kind of being vague of like, I help everybody, like, I mean, when I was starting out, I was helping everybody. I was writing a blog and all sorts of things. I actually made Gordon Ramsay's halloumi and coriander cakes and took photos of them and then wrote up the recipe. I've nothing to do with it. I'm not even like, and they looked all like making halloumi and cakes. I need your help. Like making it look nice on a dish. Like, oh god, it just looked like cat sick or something like that. But I don't know why I was talking about it. I was just kind of sharing because I was unclear of what my USP is. And I was trying to be everything to everybody. Also thinking about your ideal customer. So who is that person who needs you in your life? And sometimes you can work this out in this sort of simple equation as well. I want you to think about what their struggle is. What is, and this is not in a kind of sleazy marketing, like really capture the nub, like how much they're hurting. This is not at all. But like, what are they struggling with? What are they up against? What are their challenges? What do they want to know the answer to? And then thinking about what sort of plan do they need in place. So what would sort of be the solution that maybe you could provide? And what would happen then is you being able to almost predict the results. Putting yourself out there, pitching, being in it to win it. Because so often I see this thing of people hoping that it's going to be one thing that changes everything. Visibility and showing up. Gosh, this is really key because we all want to buy from people as well. We want to get to know you. And it was so interesting earlier. You were like, oh, I saw your Instagram stories when you had dripping wet hair. And I was like, yeah, I did, because like my kid was trying to wedgie us all, and he's just learned how to do that, which is kind of annoying. And I was like, I've got to get out of the house. I've got 3 hours of work to do. I'm going to run to my mum's. I know it's going to be quiet there. And so I literally just ran out the house with dripping wet hair. But I shared it on Instagram stupidly. Some people were like, why are you doing that? But I think sometimes for me it's really important, especially when I'm working with busy women, that they need to see me, that they need to see that I am real and that I am figuring this out as much as everybody else, and that I'm going to get it as well. That temptation to hide behind your brand, hide behind you, and kind of say, we as a business do this, and it's like, there's no one else there, it's just me, really. I mean, I do outsource things, but it's not like I've got all these little fairies working behind me. And I think sometimes if you can step into that and go, I'm going to tell my story and I'm going to show up as me and I'm going to share what I do, people connect with that, because ultimately people just want to be heard. Wait for that perfect time in that way to, right, I need a whole day to go through my notes. Because it's just procrastination and fear showing up in a different outfit again. So even if you like talking to your phone, a voice note, going, what is my fear? Is this? I mean, do this when you're alone, not alone with friends. But you know, talk to your partners, talk to people who can help you, and ask somebody else the question as well, because you might go, oh yeah, me too. Yeah, that's what it is.
Thank you.